we're now in open session. First item of business, discussion and possible action, employee compensation, Mr. Barker.
And that's the item we just discussed at $30 per paid-on-call firefighter with SOS bucks, $100 payroll with all others, which would be, 51, I think.
Is there a motion as such?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
To inspire a developer in housing, and at that time it was $7,000 per house built. Had some further regulations there, had to build minimum of 10, had to be 1,600 feet. But it was 3,500 from sewer, 3,500 from water department that we had proposed giving a developer if they would build a subdivision. And given the cost of materials going up, I guess some labor's gone up, but material particularly has about doubled. I'd like to recommend increasing that to maybe $10,000 per household. And that, when I say household, it's a house built and hooked up to water and sewer and start paying the bill, and that's considered completed. Then that we would pay the developer $5,000 out of each department.
Has that spurred any development? Like I know with Brad's new subdivision, obviously he's going to lay the concrete, the roads and the subdivision, right? But the piece we need is that developer that will come in, that will build, if not spec homes, maybe 3 or 4 model homes at a, reasonable price, I don't know what that is at this day, 250,000, kind of like, have we as a city, have we approached any developers, have we looked? I mean, obviously, I don't think there's anyone local that can do it. I think you have to go out and find like a regional developer or a national developer. That's what we need. I'd love his development. I love the 36 lots. The problem is we have 2 homes on there in 5 years. That's that, I'd like to see 20 homes there in 2 or 3 years. How do we will this help that? Will that incentivize?
Will this be paid to Brad, or will it be paid to the person building the house?
Brad.
This will be, because he's putting in water and sewer up to the,
He's pretty lateral.
He'll be running all the mains.
okay,
And to John's question there, when we first passed this, I talked to Brad Dahl numerous times. He tried to buy property from different people numerous times to make this work, and he couldn't buy property at a reasonable cost to still make it work, because we was looking at construction costs back then at $200 a square
But
foot.
he won't get that until a house is built.
That's correct.
Correct.
He
once the
understands.
house is built and
Once it's
hooks
built.
up.
Yeah,
then
which is
he'll
fine. I
get
don't
it.
care who gets it. I just, my thing is, how can we as a city, and maybe it's not a city thing, maybe it's a RDC, I don't know, but how can we spur a developer that actually builds the house to come and look at building homes? I mean, like Dietrich. Dietrich's, just that little development that they had that went up there, those size homes I think are perfect.
John, I think right now it's having the land, because what Brad told me a few years ago, he tried hard to buy some land, just couldn't buy it. At $17,000 an acre, he couldn't make it work.
So you think now that he has this, once he gets this developer, we'll get home builders that will build?
Well, it's definitely the first step in my
Well, I
opinion.
agree, I
Yeah,
agree.
you gotta start somewhere, so I think it's definitely the first step.
I can't
He's
imagine him
excited.
wanting to do this investment if he didn't feel that a developer would come in and then build homes. Has he talked to anyone? Do we know that? Has he talked?
I
Has he kicked
have
some
put him
tires?
into contact with some folks that
Yeah.
have called. Now, they are fairly small. But I know that there's a couple of groups that are working up in Crawford County with that big development
That
they're
work,
trying to
yeah.
do. So we're gonna reach out to those folks too. There is the possibility, the state is allowing us to amend our enterprise zone by adding 10 square miles? 5 and 5 or 5 square miles? I can't, so we get to add to our enterprise zone. We also, at the same time, we can include residential. Places like Crawford County have included residential in their enterprise zone. So that means people could get the benefit of sales tax abatement on products they buy for these houses, or even remodeling certain point, and we can set whatever that size of project is, and abatement on property taxes for 5 years in the enterprise zone. So, I mean, I would think if we could do all that and put this together with this $10,000 incentive, all of a sudden, we've
Sweet.
got a pretty good package for people that they can come in and.
Good incentive package. And Brad was tickled to death with it too.
Hey, something you better look at though is that on Brad's covenants, there was, you better look at number 6, the minimum square footage, because he had 1,500 and you have 1,600.
Yeah. He told me, I didn't ever get a quote from him square footage, but he said it would be above 1,600.
That's not what the covenants, that's not
Okay.
what his covenants that he has written up.
Well,
You better look at,
We need to clarify that then.
The
with city.
Northville
Do we wanna lower it to 1,500 or keep it 1,600?
well, you just don't want, and then also, you know, he has in there for like, duplexes, that kind of thing, which wouldn't cover. So, I mean, I think you just need to get on board with, I was just looking for that word, that
I
section
don't think
that
you
is
do,
in.
I'd lower it. We don't, you know, if
I
I
would
wanna
probably-
retire and I'm just me and my
I
wife,
would
and I want a small home,
probably-
single, but I want a 1,200 square foot home, or a 900,
Well,
you know.
And then we don't have enough inventory. I mean, if
We
you,
don't.
the house that next door to me just sold for a
here it
price
is,
that blows my mind. It's tiny.
total square footage
It's beautiful.
minus porch
15 for a
garage,
single and
yeah.
25 for a two-story.
1,500 square feet,
Yeah.
yeah, but then it has this 800 square foot for a duplex. So
That's
you
Brad's.
just, huh,
So that's Brad's?
yeah,
Okay.
so you just wanna make sure that you're not, I mean, you can raise this all you want, but if the square footage isn't big enough, then you're just kind of, he's gonna,
Okay.
I would say lower, because those lots
I would
out there
too.
are not very big.
Yeah, I would lower it.
Well,
Some of them are not very big.
so if someone was to take one of these old lots where we tore a house down on Lafayette and build a house, could they still get that?
John, these rules were,
So that's
passed
just for
based on what minimum
subdivision.
Yeah.
Minimum of 10,
Minimum of
okay.
10.
can-
But
'Cause
see,
I
it makes,
think-
it makes sense to us if they build it.
I still
I
think,
would open it up
I
to
think
anyone who
this-
wants to build a new home in the city
I
limits.
think we need to encourage
So many
all
houses
these
that would be
lots that were
lost.
tearing homes down in the old
We've
part of
lost 20
town.
houses last year.
If we could have people build on those, I mean, that's
Yep.
what we need to do. If there's a way,
I think that's a whole separate, like,
I agree, but if we're willing to do like 10,000 for someone to build out in a new area, I mean, incentivize them 10,000 to build on Lafayette
I'd like-
or, you know, one of these,
Yeah, the
or
city
Butler
property
or somewhere like
rebuilt.
that,
Yeah.
you know? Cause, I mean, there's some areas of town where there's a lot of land available. 'cause
So
there's
as we
so many
talk
areas.
about this,
But there are limits on the space, the lot space for the house to be built in town, isn't
There's
it?
a lot of 60-foot lots.
Some
There are a lot
of
of
them,
small
yeah,
lots.
but there are some decent sized
Yeah, we
lots,
should-
like that one in
we should be
Lafayette that
very
we just
amenable
turned
to
down,
any
I think is
adjustments to building
Oh, I
a
think-
decent sized lot.
I want us to develop all of that if we can.
so as we're amending this, let's look at number 2. Do we want to take that out?
The minimum square footage?
No, the number.
no, not for subdivisions. I think you're talking about two separate things.
Well, I meant for this here, I meant,
No, I think 10 is good for a 39, that he has to have 10 built in how many years?
oh,
10 years is what.
10 years.
Okay,
This
so
was.
10
We
to-
probably
Yeah.
need to look at that.
Yeah, like create a whole separate one just for.
Yeah, for that, and then,
Right,
yes, for random lots all over
for
town.
Just some
I
type
just
of
think
incentive.
the
for-
only thing that I saw that was like, was number 6. Because that, we used to have 1,600 and this says 1,500.
so what do we wanna change that to? 1,000?
Well, that still wouldn't,
Well, no, because he's at minimum, I mean, this is this his covenants here, or that's?
this is his covenants
Okay,
here.
so his covenant's 15, we're at 60,
Yeah,
so
so,
we
I
should
mean, he
change
needs-
ours then.
yes.
That's
So,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
to like 1,000,
Well, but then if he does, somebody comes in and builds two duplexes that only have to be 800 square feet, that wouldn't qualify.
So let's do 800.
Well, would it be,
Well, per living area in the duplex,
Yeah.
so the total would be 1,600.
would it be good for me to get with Brad, and there's not like a rush on this, and come back with,
Yeah, just,
And he
Yeah,
may have
that's
pulled that
his
just
each
because that's
unit
what
must
the
have
Donji's
800, so
had.
that
Yeah.
A couple, he said he pulled it direct to the limb, so if
Yeah.
he, I'd
I
be
think
comfortable
it's
with a
best
smaller
to
square
go back to
footage.
him.
Okay.
go
Brad?
back to him.
Yeah,
But
just-
as long as the
just
council is
clarify that,
in favor of $10,000,
yeah,
we can work out the details.
Very good.
yeah.
Very quickly, a little update on our business district. Me and Jane looked at those numbers, came in good again for the month of August. It should be running about $1.2 million now. We thought it run one, so we're getting close to 27 to $28 million over 23 years, and that's without any continued growth, so. That's going pretty quick.
Great.
Anything else? I would accept a motion